The man had a gun pointed at my wife's face, hands trembling, eyes bulging with self-importance, right there in our front yard, all because she jogged past the HOA clubhouse without showing ID. What he didn't know, and what I would have paid money to see dawn on his face, was that the woman he was trying to threaten with a knockoff Glock was a currently active Delta Force operative who had returned from a classified mission just 2 days prior. She hadn't even unpacked her field gear yet. And there she was, standing in front of some wannabe cop, holding his weapon sideways like he learned it from a bargain bin action flick. I knew she could have disarmed him with a shoelace and a paperclip, but she actually gave him a chance to walk away. He didn't take it. That's when everything escalated. We moved here looking for peace and quiet. Ironic, considering my wife once defused a car bomb in a lightning storm while rescuing hostages. But she wanted normalcy. Morning jogs, backyard gardening, maybe even start a chicken coop. And me? I'm a cybersecurity guy. I wanted fiber internet and a quiet basement. We found this HOA community just outside the city, marketed as private, secure, and family-focused. Glossy brochures promised sanctuary, community spirit, and optional monthly events. Not once did it mention cosplay law enforcement patrolling in golf carts like it was some budget Call of Duty map. The warning signs were there, though. 4 black golf carts parked outside the clubhouse, each one labeled HSD, Home Safety Division. They had flashing blue lights zip-tied to their roofs and decals of cartoon eagles. I thought it was for neighborhood barbecues. Turns out they took it dead seriously. Like ticketing you for unleashed dogs on your own property serious. The first week, we kept to ourselves. My wife, fresh off deployment, spent her time setting up security cameras and organizing the garage. It wasn't paranoia. She said it helped her transition. I stayed in my home office, coding, pretending not to hear Karen Delaney, the HOA president, tap on our door with her clipboard collection. She had the demeanor of someone who's never been questioned and didn't plan to be. Karen handed us a printed rulebook the size of a novella. Gems included: no drying laundry outside. Grass must not exceed 2.75 inches, and my personal favorite, residents must not appear intimidating during recreational activity. When I asked what that meant, she smiled and said, "You know it when you see it." That morning, day 8, started like any other. My wife laced up her shoes and headed out for a jog. I made coffee and sat down to work. 10 minutes later, my phone buzzed with a motion alert. I checked the feed and saw 2 HSD golf carts blocking the road and my wife standing still, hands slightly raised. In front of her, a middle-aged man, potbelly pushing against a tactical vest, holding a gun. I dropped my coffee and ran. By the time I got outside, 2 more officers had joined him. They looked confused, like backup dancers unsure of the choreography. My wife, calm as ever, locked eyes with the guy shouting about IDs and suspicious behavior. She asked if he was law enforcement. "We're HOA police," he barked. "That's higher than city cops here." A tiny smirk curled at the corner of her mouth. She said, "Sir, I'm going to ask you to lower your weapon. For your own safety." He didn't. Blink 1, his gun hit the ground. Blink 2, he was face first on the pavement with his arm pinned behind his back. She wasn't even winded. She leaned in and whispered something that made the color drain from his face. Cops showed up within minutes. The fake officers began ranting about assault and resisting HOA authority. One of the real officers paused when he saw my wife, asked for ID, glanced at it, then nodded. "Ma'am, you're good to go." And just like that, it was over. Karen Delaney arrived 10 minutes later to find her captain holding his arm and his pride. That was the spark. Instead of backing off, Karen declared war. On both of us. She had no clue who she was picking a fight with. My wife snuck into war zones undetected and trained actual soldiers. Karen thought she ran this neighborhood. My wife had liberated entire villages. Karen called an emergency HOA meeting. At 6:30 p.m., neighbors set up lawn chairs like it was the Super Bowl. Someone brought popcorn. Karen took the podium wearing a khaki vest decked with HOA pins and a headset like she was directing air traffic. She announced, "There's been a violent assault on one of our peacekeepers." Peacekeepers, not volunteers, not mall cop rejects. Peacekeepers. She pointed to the captain, arm in a sling, face pale. Captain Moore was injured protecting our streets from a trespasser with a known history of aggression. I raised my hand. What history? Because she raises chickens and drinks chamomile? Karen frowned. We believe she was casing homes. She was listening to true crime podcasts. Gasps from the audience, not at the podcast, but the absurdity. Then came the twist. One of the HOA cronies wore a body cam to feel official. It auto-synced to the cloud. A local teen hacked it and uploaded the footage. 5 neighbors brought laptops. The video played. My wife jogged. An HOA cart screeched in. Words exchanged. Gun drawn. Then, in 3 seconds, she disarmed and restrained him. No excessive force. Clinical. Professional. Silence followed. Then someone said she should run the HOA. Karen panicked. Claimed the footage was unauthorized. Someone asked, what context justifies pulling a gun on a jogger? Questions erupted. Why were dudes funding fake cops? Who authorized weapons? What training do they have? That night, under HOA dim street lamps, I felt the power shift. Karen's rule by fear and fines was unraveling. Neighbors who once stayed silent now waved hello. 3 days later, we received a certified letter, $1,470 in fines. Offenses included hostile energy while jogging and intimidating presence. My wife flipped the paper over and started writing names. Karen doubled down. New rules passed overnight. Mandatory visible ID in public areas, on-site fines, even a clause for expulsion if you threaten neighborhood harmony. My wife didn't retaliate with weapons. She used intel. She found that the HOA paid $180,000 to a fake landscaping company run by the HOA captain's cousin. My wife compiled footage proving no work was ever done and sent it to a federal auditor. The board received a records request within 48 hours. Karen locked down the clubhouse and stood sentry with a leaf blower posing as a security device. Residents started waking up. Flyers went out. Factual, calm, clear. Where the money went. Where it didn't. Lawn signs appeared. Smile. You're being fined for breathing. The tide turned. A retired lawyer, Mrs. Dorsey, led a petition to the city council for an HOA review. Karen claimed they had no jurisdiction. The council laughed. My wife showed up in jeans and boots with one folder. She presented everything. Financial fraud, unfiled bylaws, fake officers. Then the council asked, Mrs. Maddox, what's your background? She replied, I serve in a classified capacity within a Tier 1 special mission unit. Dead silence. Then one councilman smiled. Welcome home, ma'am. Karen didn't show up to the next review. The HOA was frozen. Dues suspended. Finis refunded. And then came the golf cart chase. Karen, still in denial, ordered her captain to retrieve audit copies from my wife. He jumped into a golf cart, tried to intercept her. She stepped aside. He hit a trench and flipped into the bushes. She retrieved her tote bag, dropped him a granola bar, and walked away. Viral again. The HOA disbanded. Karen vanished. Rumors said she applied for a job in real estate. We didn't care. The neighborhood finally exhaled. My wife returned to her routine. Jogging, gardening, meetings with serious people in black SUVs. No celebración. Just peace. Then, one day, she received a manila envelope. Inside, a certificate of commendation from the Department of Defense. No medal. Just a note. We're proud of how you handled it. See you soon. Later that month, a black SUV arrived. A man stepped out. Precise. Polished. No small talk. He handed her an envelope. She read it, then looked at me. Her eyes had that intensity again. When do I leave? She asked. Dawn, he replied. She packed light. Left a note. Karen was just the warm-up. This is the mission. At sunrise, I watched her walk to the SUV. No bouvier. Just certainty. She had a job to do. The new HOA president is Tom, retired postal worker. His first rule, don't be a jerk. Peace at last.